Before that, Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome to the very first V3 implementation call of 2024. Today is January 10th. It's not going to be too long until we start talking about all our fun annual things this year, like the annual meeting and everything we do throughout the year. So welcome, happy to have you here. Hope it's a great 2024, great year for everyone on this call. So we have, looks like we are going to, I am going to go get John a second to get ready for his stakeholder introduction here. We're going to start with Jen Correa, who has the maintenance update, and then is going to move on to the revision discussion. So Jen, if you'd like to start, please.
Absolutely. Good morning, everyone, and Happy New Year. Maintenance is going to be January 16th to 17th. If there's going to be any other maintenance outside of that window, we will definitely get some emails out and let you know. So if you experience any issues on the 16th or 17th, feel free to email, but it's probably due to maintenance. And for the version 351 revision discussion, I want you all to get ready to celebrate. There isn't a lot to discuss. The Richmond Agitation Sedation Scale has been suggested as a national custom element over to the NASEMSO National Custom Element Group to consider and get some medical director input and have more discussions around it and make sure that if it is made part of the standard, it is done appropriately. And the other item that was still on the list the last time we talked was E-Other 06 and violence in EMS. We are still talking about the verbiage, and we are getting input from PWW to make sure that, as discussed last time, we try to avoid any terminology that could have legal repercussions and or mean something different from state to state, for example, assault and battery and coming up to the different legalities of that. So congratulations, everyone. I would like to put out a huge, gigantic thank you to all of our EMS stakeholders, the agencies, the states, the vendors. You have all been a huge participant in making this happen and getting us to where we are. And we are about to turn these over to IT to start their work and their scheduling. As soon as we have dates or anything like that, because I know that's the next thing that everybody's going to start asking about, we will get those shared out to you. Are there any questions or anything like that that I can answer? All right. Well, again, thank you very much. And Chris, I'm going to turn it right back over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the information there, Jen. I know this was a huge undertaking. Thank you for spearheading that. And as you said, thank you for everyone for their support in getting that taken care of. It has been and continues to be a huge undertaking. So we're going to go back a step here on our agenda. John, are you ready to do the stakeholder introduction? Oh, you know what? I sat there and I said, ask if it would be helpful if I made it so that you could share. So my question to you, the answer was no, but now are
Now,
you?
can you hear me?
Now you can. There you go, John. You go ahead and take it away.
Good morning. I'm sorry I was late. Of course, when I opened Zoom this morning, it said update in progress, and I was not expecting an update. So I'm here to do the stakeholder introduction. I'm going to try to share my screen really quickly. Is everyone able to see that? Just good. Very well.
Yep.
All right. So our stakeholder this morning is, well, what's the purpose of a stakeholder introduction? It's to get to know others on the call, build connections so we know people, to have a little bit of fun, to show that we're all human beings here. And the problem is that we've introduced everybody that we have on our list. So we need you. If you have not been introduced and you're fairly new here, I'm going to send a link in chat in just a second to get you to fill out a quick form. The questions aren't hard. They're all about you, so you'll know the answer. And then we will maybe introduce you on the next call. And so while I've got you, I wanted to give a quick update on the 3.5.0 Green State update. So big congratulations to Idaho, Alaska, Delaware, New Hampshire. And you'll notice that the last three, Maine, Rhode Island, and Maryland, are still showing as purple on the map. But we confirmed late yesterday for two and this morning for another that they are green or should be green. And we've put the IT request in, so they will be green within the next couple of days. That leaves only 12 states remaining. So thank you guys for your hard work. At the same time, if I sent out a form to you, if we don't have your, if you've not been green yet, we've sent out a form, and so far, actually, let me go back to, there we go. That's who they went to. I don't know what that's about, but I want to look at the oh, I'm looking at, that's the form, but that's not the right form. But hold on one second. Well, I won't tie everybody up. So there was a Q1 2024 form that went out to all the states who aren't green. If you received that and have not responded, please do so by next Friday, the 19th. And we will be sure to update your state page with your plan going forward and hopefully get you green as soon as possible.
Perfect. Thank you, John. Yeah, I would encourage everyone to go ahead and get a, there would be no problem with having too many people in the stakeholder introduction. We'd be happy to do a couple of those a time if we had a whole bunch of those in. So yeah, please feel free to get back with those and let us know. We're interested in everyone. We want to know what your hobbies are, and maybe we can connect on who your favorite football team is or something like that. Awesome. Thank you very much, John. So we are going to go back to, we're going to go to item number 5 on our agenda here, which is Lauri, who's going to be talking to us about closing the 2023 data set. Lauri.
Sounds good. Thanks, Chris. And I do want to take a minute and just chat about the public release research data set, because we do sometimes get questions and people sometimes wonder what exactly it is and what it's used for and why their data is important to be included in it. So let me say first that this data set is frequently used for peer-reviewed publications. It is currently the largest publicly available data set of EMS activations in the United States. And so it does include every EMS call, all of the data for 1 year, for a calendar year. Although there is no identifying information, there's no patient information included. There's also no agency identifying or hospital identifying or even state identifying information. But in 2022, we included in that static data set over 51 million EMS activations, and that was collected from over 13,000 EMS agencies, 54 states, territories, and the District of Columbia. So again, thank you all for the hard work you do in collecting that data. This is just one small way that our data is shared and used, but it is an important way. And as of this week, we have released or received request for, I think that's on my next slide. Hang on one second. I want to say it was close to 200 activations. If Ben Fisher, are you on the call? I think he did a count for me yesterday. If you're there, you can put it in chat, Ben. But let me share the date. We've started to receive emails and questions as to when we are closing the 2023 data set. And we chose the same date we did, I believe, the last 2 years. I know this was the same date last year, but I think it was the same 2 years ago as well. And hopefully it will be easy to remember. We chose Valentine's Day because we love EMS data here at NEMSIS. And so hopefully that will remind you as you're seeing Valentine's Day approach, that you can be mindful of making sure you've submitted all of your 2023 records to NEMSIS by that date. So if your state does have a submission lag, or I know currently there's some states working on DUAs and holding some records until that gets finalized, we are hoping that you'll be able to get all of that data sent to us by that date. There's a few requests we have as well. And this first one is new. We've been able to receive records historically, going back several years, but we are changing that recommendation and best practice to only ask that you send records up to 1 year from the incident date, from the NHTSA date. And so it is not necessary to go back to previous years. We hope that you're gonna try to update 2023, but no, nothing previous to that. Another request we have is that if you are sending large batches of data at once, and by large, we mean typically over 50,000 records a day, that you contact us first. If there are larger amounts than that coming in, we may ask you to spread it out over several days or to work with your vendor to send it in smaller batches so that it doesn't overwhelm our system on this end. So please reach out if you're planning on sending anything over 50,000 a day. And then we encourage all states also to check your current composition of the warehouse dashboard and essentially to compare your numbers or your information in your state to our numbers and what we have received. And if there's any discrepancy there, please reach out to us as well as your vendor, and we can do what we can to help you make sure that everything has been submitted that you think has or that should have been. And then the last is a question we often get too of what if we miss the deadline? Should we bother to send records if it's after February 14th? The answer is yes, you still can send records. Again, if it's within the last year from when the incident took place, we encourage you to send those, and those records will be available on dashboards and in the warehouse. They just may not make it to that public release of the data set that will close on Valentine's Day. We then spend a few weeks cleaning the data, making sure it's ready, and then have it ready to share. And so I hope that answers your questions. If not, feel free to put a note in chat or reach out to me if you think of questions after today as well. But again, keep that February 14th deadline in mind. We would love to have your state's complete data set included in our public release this year. And then I have the next topic as well. And this is just a quick announcement that previously we were in the process of updating all of our dashboards to be representing both 3.4 and 3.5 data. And we have finished that process. So now all NEMSIS dashboards are displaying 3.4 and 3.5 data currently. Anything that you're sending to us should be displayed there. So again, we encourage you to check your current composition, your state data submission dashboard. And if those numbers look off to you for any reason, please reach out. I know there've been a few states recently that thought they were submitting 3.5 data and it hadn't landed here yet. We had not received it yet. So we're glad we were able to catch that and work with their vendor to get that sent over. So let us know if you have questions, but hopefully dashboards are representing everything you're sending currently. And then the last announcement here, I mentioned briefly already in talking about the public data set, but that we are implementing essentially a new best practice, something that we are requesting that you only submit historic records or older EMS records up to 1 year after the unit notified by dispatch date or the NHTSA date. Any older records submitted soon will be rejected. They won't be rejected yet. We're kind of still in the process of rolling this out. And so right now it's a best practice in a recommendation, but once it does become a policy, those records actually will be rejected if they're sent previous to 1 year of the incident. So just a heads up that that's coming. We'll continue to talk about that, and you can reach out if you have questions. But that is all I have. I'll pass it back to you, Chris.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lauri. And yeah, way to get through all of those announcements there. I do love the The Valentine's theme. I think that will keep everything there that you announced, have that up in the front of everybody's mind. So that's
Yeah.
awesome.
And I see that Ben put a note in chat here too. Thank you, Ben, that we received 359 requests for the public data set in 2022 so far. And so those will continue to be requested in years to come, but it is shared and it is used, and we'd love to have your data included. So thank you.
Awesome. And there is a question in there from Adam Milford from Zoll that is, I think this is a question for Jen. Could someone remind me if the 3.5.1 requests, either original or refined, are available through the website somewhere? And so if someone who knows the answer to that could put that into the chat for Adam, I'd certainly appreciate that. In the meantime, let's go ahead and move on to our next presenter, who is Randall Eimerman, who is going to give us an update on NASEMSO and NEMSIS projects. Randall, you ready?
I am. Thank you, Chris. So 2 updates for everyone. NASEMSO has 2 subcommittees. Both of them are very great discussions with the data managers. The first one was the custom data element for the leave behind naloxone. That's become a yes/no with some great pertinent negatives. We're finalizing that list and bringing that back to the Data Managers Council for approval. And secondly, will be we're very close to completing the extended data definitions. We have one more data element to go through, and then some final touches on wording, grammar, spelling, things like that to just kind of finish up. So you should see some updates on that in the very near future. Those are my 2 updates for today. Thank you. Any questions on those? Sounds good. Thank you, Chris.
Awesome. Thank you, Randall. If any questions do come up, go ahead and throw them into the chat, and Randall's going to stick around here. So if there's more questions, if you have them in the open forum, we can answer them there as well. Thank you very much, Randall. So moving right along, let's get an update about the 2024 IHE North America Connectathon from Josh Legler. Josh?
Okay, thanks, Chris. Good morning, everyone. IHE has its next annual Connectathon coming up right around the corner, February 19th through 23rd, so we're just over a month away. The IHE Connectathon really helps. This is for EMS vendors. You go to the Connectathon, you send a couple people, and they sit down at the table with their computers next to vendors of other software that needs to demonstrate and implement interoperability with healthcare data. And you start pounding away and sending data to each other, implementing, sending that data using IHE profiles and HL7 standards. So it gives you that opportunity to demonstrate that you can use the standards and profiles that are used all across the healthcare data industry, that you can talk to other systems using those standard ways of doing it. So great way to say, if you're going to participate in connecting to a health information exchange or health information network, that you can come to them and say, hey, I know the standards that you use in your network, and I've demonstrated my ability to implement those standards. We've tested and verified that we can do this. So it gives you that opportunity to sit down right side by side with systems that you would be interacting with in the real world, and get those interoperable profiles and standards in place. So that Connectathon, the next one coming up in February, as I said, it's in Oak Brook, Illinois, which is near Chicago. The cost for vendors to participate is $7,000 for a system. That includes seats for 2 developers to come. They are also, they've had limited capacity with this Connectathon this year. They still have spots available for in-person participation, but they are also offering a remote or virtual option, $4,200 per system. There are certain IHE profiles that will be supported for testing through the remote option. So vendors, you have either of those options open probably for the kinds of profiles that you would likely be testing for EMS interoperability. I've got the QR code there that'll head to iheusa.org to their Connectathon website, where you can get more information about the Connectathon and submit a registration form for it. So I encourage participation here by vendors to really demonstrate that you can talk the languages that the rest of healthcare data talks. Then I'll just, the other last thing I wanted to mention is that we are resuming the monthly EMS interoperability task force calls. And the next one will be tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. We will be readdressing the topic of patient identification and matching in the EMS environment, and getting some remaining questions and issues settled around that topic. All right, well, that's it. I'll just check the chat to see. Okay, no questions in the chat. Any other questions? Just feel free to ask them, and otherwise I'll turn it back to Chris.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Josh. It's really exciting to see all of the hard work and progress that your group is making. So congratulations, and encourage everybody into that participating in the Connectathon. Okay, it looks like next on the list is me. And Lauri. So we have an exciting announcement here. Lauri, do you want to sort of give a background on this, and then I can kind of show some highlights here?
Sure, yeah. We have been working over the last year. I know several of you on this call were involved in the early stages of this process when we were asking for feedback from state data managers of what you think would be helpful for a new state data manager who's onboarding to know and understand about data dictionary and schematrons and data sets and DUAs and all the things. And so we created this course, and Chris will share a little bit about it, but essentially we are hopeful that this will just kind of help to level the playing field. We know people move into a state data manager role sometimes with varying backgrounds. There's sometimes an epidemiologist, and sometimes they have an EMS or EMT background, sometimes not. And so we're hoping this will really provide the basics as well as everything that would be helpful to know, especially in your first year in that role. And it's meant to be kind of an independent work at your own pace. There's some videos we created to watch and quizzes that go along with it. There's a certificate of completion that you'll get that will be awarded at the NEMSIS annual meeting if you complete this training course this year. And if you're interested, even if you're, I'm going to say too, even if you are an experienced veteran data manager and what Chris shows you today, if this looks interesting to you, or there may be a video you'd be interested in watching or accessing, let us know. We're happy to create, we just will send you a link. You'll have to create a username and password to take the course, but we're happy to share this. And also, if you know there's others on your team, if you are a manager, but you think someone that you work with might benefit from some of these videos or trainings, we're happy to share it. And they don't need to work through the whole course. If there's just part of it that you think would be beneficial, they're welcome to just watch those videos as well. So thank you for everyone who is involved in the content creation, and a huge thank you to Chris, who did a lot of video editing, and Jen and Monet and many others on the call who helped us produce the content and create the videos for this as well. So thank you. It was definitely a joint effort.
Yeah, this was a fun project, and I think it's going to be really useful and exciting content here. Took us a while longer than we thought it was going to, but totally worth the wait on this. So to kind of just give you a little bit of idea of what the content is. So it is an online course. We're using a learning management system called Moodle, if you're familiar. It's a great learning management system, very organized, very clean, runs on systems, not a very heavy piece of software or anything like that. If you're interested in accessing this content, get us an email. Best way is probably just to go through the request button on the website. Go to nemsis.org. Lower right-hand corner, there's a red button that says submit a ticket. Do that. Tell us that you want access to the new data manager course, and we will create an account for you. You'll get an email with a username and password, and then you can go through all of this content at your own pace, like Lauri was saying. There are several, when you go into the website, you'll see that there's a course in there that says NEMSIS State Manager Training. At some point, this is a platform now, so this is the first course that we have in here. We do have visions of being able to put more information in here if this goes well and you like it, to put more information in here into the State Manager Training and into subsequent other courses. Then you'll go in and you'll have these nice sections where you have an opportunity to introduce yourself, how to set up your login, joining the mail list, and then on into all of the different things about what are the data sets, who's NEMSIS, who are all these different names with who's NASEMSO, and has representatives from all of those different organizations giving a little bit of a history of where they're how they fit into the NEMSIS into the NEMSIS puzzle. Great thing about this information is it stays here. So a lot of times, if you're having a conversation with Lauri and she starts to explain about some part of NEMSIS, or you're having a conversation with Monet and she explains the DEM files and such, and it makes sense when the person is sitting there telling you about it, and then couple weeks go past and you're actually working on it and you're trying to think, what did they say about that? That's when you can go, that's one of the opportunities to be able to go back into this information and be able to watch it again. And so how much content do we have in here? We have 16 videos and 3.5 hours of content. And so I understand that sounds a little bit, it sounds great on one hand. There's a ton of content, but also a little intimidating on one point. 3.5 hours. Do I have to watch this all the way through? No, not at all. This is not like there's a CE credit or anything like that at the end of this. This is for your information. We want to make this available, not bludgeon you over the head with it. This is a resource. This is a tool. This is something you can use. One of the things that Lauri wanted to make sure that we pointed out on this is that all of these videos are hosted in YouTube, and YouTube has a feature in it where you can watch videos at double speed or at half speed. If when you go into the course and you bring up one of these videos, if you look in the lower right hand corner, you can see we have a screenshot up on the slide here. You can change that to ×2, and it's amazing how much information you will still understand and catch, even though it's going faster. Studies show that you can listen a lot faster than people can talk. And so if it is one of the longer videos, we did try to pare them down into digestible chunks, right? I don't know that I would recommend 3.5 hours. It's like one of the Lord of the Rings extended cuts. I don't know that I would sit down in one day and try to get through all of them. It might be better off to take a few every day or so and make a week out of it. But that's my suggestion. You go ahead and digest and go through this information however you like. That's what self-directed learning is all about. I did want to point out, like, one of the things that we had in here, I believe we hired Pixar Animation or Disney. It looks like Industrial Light and Magic to create some of the animations that you have in here. So some of the characters in here are your friends here at NEMSIS and at the other organizations that we work at, that work with us. But to change it up a little bit, we did try to add some animated characters and some animated segments to liven up the information. So you'll have to let us know what you think about that. And then there are at the end of each of the sections, there are these quizzes that are just to help you with your recall of the information. We made some sets of questions where they are key points of what was in the video or in the documentation, and that is what's available here and what is just being assessed. This assessment doesn't go anywhere into a certificate or into a database or anything like that. We're not going to report it to anybody. This is just for your information so that you can recall and go over again the information that you saw in the videos. The other things that we have in here is anytime that we're talking about a resource on the NEMSIS website, we have a link to that resource. So to the data dictionary, the grant guidance document, public research data set, this is another place where you can look at information if you're going through this course and then you get to the section about the data dictionary and then you want to use this as your link to remember where the data dictionary is. Like you remember, oh, I remember they said something about this. You can go back into the course, go to the link. It'll take you to where that information is on the website. And then until you remember exactly where it is on the website, you can get to it through the link in the course. And once you have access to this, we imagine that we're just going to leave access to it so that you can access it whenever you want. So if you watch something and then 3-4 months down the line, you're actually going to be working more with that resource, you can go back into the course, watch all the videos again so that you can refresh your memory, and hopefully that will help out with any of the projects that you're working with. We're really excited about this. If, like I said, if you want to get an account, let us know. And then for the first few people here, we are super interested in your feedback as to what information was helpful, what wasn't, what we're doing well in it, and what you'd like to see in the future. And so with this, that's kind of the end of the formal presentation here. Are there any questions about the course? It's Chris R. Yes, possibly Industrial Light and Hoffman Magic. Yes, yes, thank you very much, John. But yeah, so yeah, that is really exciting. Thank you for the opportunity. It was really fun to work with everybody to create that resource, and hopefully everybody who uses it will get some good use out of it. From there, I think, let me get back to my agenda.
Hey, Chris and Lauri,
Yes.
anyone take it, or is that restricted only to the state data managers? Can anyone take those courses?
Yes, anyone can take it. Yep, vendors, anyone who works in an EMS office in your state that you think it may be beneficial to.
They'd need to know the password though, which the password is, could I get an account for the data manager course?
Mm-hmm.
That would be it. So thanks for the question. Yes,
And
anyone who wants to use this, please do. It is a resource for everybody.
Yeah.
The next on our list is if there's
Just
Hey,
one
Chris,
second. Sorry,
we've
Chris.
got a
Oh, yeah.
question. Yeah. Can you unmute Karen? It looks like she wants to ask a question about 3.4 and 3.5 data.
absolutely. Let me. There you go. Go ahead.
Can you hear us, Karen? Or can you unmute?
Oh, now try again. That was a prank. That was a test. Now you can do it.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Fabulous. Alrighty, everybody, Happy New Year. This is Karen Jacobson. So as you said, the version 3.4 and the version 3.5 data are available in the dashboards in the cube. Is there a way to identify them by version 3.4 or version 3.5? Because I've now logged into both a couple of Tableau reports and the cube, and I don't see any way to do that.
Yeah, currently I do not believe there is. We've talked about that, possibly adding that to some of the dashboards. So if there's something that would be helpful to you or that you would need to know, let us know and we could consider making those changes. But currently you're not able to filter 3.4 and 3.5. We are sending every other week, bi-weekly, we're emailing out a list for each state of what percentage of your records, number of percentage of your records are in 3.4 compared to 3.5, and the number of the agencies it's coming from. So hopefully that will help you as you're tracking your agencies that are transitioning over, but not available in dashboards currently.
Thank you. Also at the NEMSIS annual meeting in August, I asked a question about when the version 3.5 elements would be available in the cube. And I believe the initial hope was that it was going to be by the end of 2023. Again, I'm now in the cube looking at patient disposition, and I do not currently see any of those elements available. So just wondering about a status update, or at least in 2 weeks, if you could get one for us.
Yeah, if anyone on the call knows, feel free to unmute and answer. Otherwise, we'll get that answer to you next time we meet, Karen. Good question.
Yeah, this is Josh. I happen to know that they are being worked on right now. The database changes that underlie the cube are being worked on at the moment. My guess is that we're probably looking at, I'm guessing like by the end of February to see those in the cube.
Okay, thanks, Josh. I know it's not an insignificant change that's needed for that. So I know it's a lot of work and there's a lot of folks that have to be involved in that. So appreciate the update, Josh. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, we'll make a note, Karen, to be sure to announce that once it's updated and ready.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, we'll go back to you, Chris.
Thanks, Karen. And thank you, Lauri. So we have an item here that says for Eric Chaney, but I believe he is Eric, are you on the call, maybe under a different phone number, a different name? If he is, you go ahead and unmute yourself and let me know. If not, we are going to go ahead and move to the open forum section. First open forum of the V3 calls of 2024. Are there any items from anyone that they would like to bring up during open forum?
Chris, I think Jeremy is here. I think Eric's traveling today, but Jeremy,
Awesome.
did you have any updates from OEMS?
Hey everybody, I'm on an Amtrak train right now, headed up to the Boston airport so I can head down to Austin for the NAMSP conference. So I apologize if I'm breaking up or if I lose connection, but the only thing I just would mention is I think folks are probably aware that we had the EMS data summit back in December that went really well. I know that CAC is recording of that meeting on their YouTube site. So if you weren't able to attend in person or virtually, I would encourage you to find some time to watch that. I think it's about 2.5 hours, and there's just a lot of great information and great discussion that took place there. I don't have any other updates at this time, but if folks have questions or concerns, or if there's anything we can do for you, as always, please don't hesitate to reach out to us.
Perfect. Thank you, Jeremy. And yeah, thanks for making it on here. Have a safe trip. Appreciate that. Okay, so then
Chris,
yes,
Adam, for Zoll says he has 2 items. For
awesome.
open forum. Can you unmute him?
Absolutely. Go for it, Adam.
All right, thanks. Yeah, one of the reasons I asked earlier about the 351 updates is going to try to search through there, see if it was mentioned. We had one of the developers ask if there was any discussion or notes on ICD 11.
There has not been for version 351.
Okay. And I wasn't sure if that that affected anyone. There's been mixed timelines, and we did research online about, it went live in January 2022, where it's going to be enforced by, I forget what date it was mentioned. Have you guys heard? Has anyone brought it up to you guys? Any kind of discussion on a timeline for that type of update?
I have not heard anything, but that doesn't mean it hasn't been discussed. Lauri, Jeremy, or Chris, have you heard anything?
I have not either, but we could look into that and report back next time if we have more information.
Okay. Good. And then the second one is having to do with state data sets. When we get the list of facilities from states, is there, I'm sure it's been brought up before, but I'm going to do it again. Has there been heavy discussion? Is there a way that we could desperately get the NPI numbers, or at least an NPI number, even if there's multiple for a state, on the state data set lists? Or is that kind of a like non-starter?
That is
it's
up
more
to the
for state.
Yeah, that's up to the states to provide. There's an element for it where they could provide the NPI number if they have it.
Exactly. Yeah, if I guess this is kind of suggestion out to state data managers. Is there a way that even if there is one available, that can start to be provided? Because we want to try to utilize that with various projects.
Could you maybe explain a little more to states, Adam, how that might be helpful or used?
I think the biggest use is more just even matching names of facilities. I mean, you could do it by address, but there's not a good pattern on North-South Boulevard, One Medical Center Drive. Just various things and names. So I mean that alone, even if there's multiple, NPI numbers for a given facility that at least gives some matching functionality. And then it's also used in some other systems. I don't have those details, but it came up on some other calls, mostly billing, I think, something like that. So yeah, I mean, even if there is and I believe the NEMSIS pattern even allows for more than one. So that's what I was suggesting. I don't think it should be a blocker of any to provide those numbers, even if there's more than one or that kind of thing.
It is a 0 to many or 1 to many field, so it does allow multiple.
Yeah.
Could you kind of, Adam, could you let the states know why an NPI number would help them more, or help the vendors in addition to the location codes?
Kind of what I mentioned, the location codes, better matching, but also I believe billing systems use it or kind of use it for matching on their side and that kind of thing.
And then Mark, you asked about major versus minor. I'm not sure what those ICD-11 changes are. So it depends on if it's just additional to the pattern that exists or if it changes the pattern for the ICD-10 codes.
All right, scrolling back up in the chat, I believe, Karin, did you have, was your question about the V34 and V35, was that addressed? Yes, perfect. Okay. Anyone else? Going on to the next item. Our next upcoming meetings will be on January 24th. That's the next upcoming meeting, same bat time, same bat channel. And that is, I believe, everything for, oh, we do have a quick one. Brian.
Thank you.
You
Sorry,
bet.
I was trying to type as fast as I could on
No, you're
my
fine.
tablet, and it was what it was. I want, since everybody's together, I wanted to just reach out to the vendors and make sure that they're receiving the notices that I send out. If you have customers in Virginia, we're working on some more things, and I just want to make sure I've got good contacts. So if you've been getting the notices that I send out, typically on a monthly basis or as needed, then we're good. If you want other individuals at your company included, if you could just email me the email addresses, I'll be glad to add them to them. And if you've got customers in Virginia and you haven't been getting anything from me, just email me your email address and I'll make sure that you're added to the list. As we start going through some of the challenges we're having with the 3.5 transition, I need to start being able to reach out to agencies and their vendors on some of these, just to make sure that I've got communication covered. For example, we only have 44 agencies right now reporting 3.5 data, but last month there were over almost 43,000 validation issues. So I want to try to start getting communications out multiple directions. And I just want to make sure I've got good email addresses.
Brian, if you want to put your email address in the chat there, people could reach out if they're not on that list.
Absolutely. And so just don't give me an extra minute to type on this tablet again. But that was it. That was the thing I needed.
Awesome. Thank you, Brian. Yes, thank you very much. And so I will vamp here for just a sec. Let's see if anything, Adam, Wilfred. So I've turned it off, so anyone can come off of mute at the moment now. If someone who's Zoom bombing this has waited this long and listened to this long about EMS data, still just stay quiet. But if Adam, did you want to come off of mute? And is there anyone else who wanted to continue this conversation while we're still here? We're good. Okay, Adam. Perfect.
I'll just mention too, Jay's comment here. He said that the DMC is early in discussion in standardizing facility names and codes. I know NASEMSO is kind of exploring that idea too, that may help solve that problem a little bit. So if you have ideas or thoughts, I'd encourage you to either reach out to us or NASEMSO or Randall and share those ideas, as I know the DMC is talking about that.
Perfect. Anyone else? I'll count down from like 10 in my head for the rest of this. Awesome. Perfect. I think we can put a fork in this meeting. I think it is done. I want to congratulate everybody on a wonderful first V3 call. Let's keep up this tone and this helpful collegial. I don't even know the word. This wonderful conversation. Keep it going throughout the year here, and have another great year of EMS data. I hope everybody has a great and wonderful day. If you are going to travel today, please be safe and stay warm. Thank you so much, and everyone have a great day.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, everyone.